Hi guys, it's Sebastian with Looking, Feeling, Smelling Great. I'm back with another video for you today. I have my Frag Hag number 2, Sheena here, and we are going to compare Feve Delicieuse by Dior with Tonka Imperiale by Guerlain. So please stay tuned. So Feve Delicieuse was recently released. I guess it's not that recent now. It was earlier this year, probably spring of 2015, somewhere around there. Tonka Imperiale has been out since the 2000s. They're very similar fragrances, but I myself prefer Feve Delicieuse a lot more. Tonka Imperiale seems to be a little more thinner. It doesn't last as long. It doesn't project as long. It's very a skin scent mostly. But Feve Delicieuse really projects and, you know, lasts a long time. It smells delicious. Plus, it has an added cacao note that I really like.
Are they similar to one another? Are they the same sort of fragrance?
Yes, they both utilize the dominant note of Tonka beans.
Oh.
It kind of has an almondy kind of an accord.
Interesting.
But the Dior definitely has more like a cacao, chocolatey thing. It's so gorgeous, it's so beautiful that I rarely pull from my Tonka Imperiale. I go right to this.
Well, so what is a Tonka Bean?
It's a kind of a bean that's utilized in perfumery, not to eat, but it has like an almondy kind of a smell.
Right.
So let's spray the Feve Delicieuse. You've never smelled these before, I take it. And knowing you are a gourmand lover, you're going to really love this Feve Delicieuse.
You want me to smell that one first, or which is the thinner one?
The thinner one is the Guerlain.
I better smell that one first. Okay. You know what? Because if I fall in love with the other one, then it's gonna be all bad. Marzipan, definitely.
Yeah, Marzipan.
Marzipan. I mean, for real, smell it. Like that's what
Germany in a bottle.
It's a German cake in a bottle. Actually, marzipan, like the princess cakes, you know, the one with the green cake over it, that's Danish or something.
Danish?
Like
oh, we're going to Denmark, so.
There you go. But that's very much a one note. Like that is what that is. For real.
I think it basically is a one note. I mean, it's not a one note. There's multiple notes in here to create this fragrance, but it's one scent. It doesn't take you on a journey. Like, it doesn't have a top. It doesn't have a
that
mid.
makes sense.
It doesn't really. It just pretty much stays the same.
That's a better way to put it.
Whereas Feve Delicieuse, you'll see some changes.
That's amazing. That's what I would call sort of a complete scent, where I wouldn't have to layer anything with that. I wouldn't have to. I mean, that's. It's got that same marzipan-y sort of thing, but it's got, I mean, to me, like almost like a bourbon-y smell as well, like a boozy kind of smell.
Do you get anything soapy, clean, and like maybe perhaps lavender? I get something herbal in.
I get herbal, but I'm not sure it's lavender, but it might be thyme, maybe like thyme flowers, because it's definitely a herbal floral, not like a floral, but. Now, this one, I do get a doughy.
The Feve Delicieuse.
Yeah.
Doughy. Yeah?
I understand what you're saying more about doughy, because that was one that I just didn't really understand what that would... We've never had one where I've smelled it, like I've understood that smell. This, to me, I get that. Like, yeah, doughy.
Doughy. But do you see why I say this one, the Guerlain is kind of on the lighter side? It's more translucent, kind of sheer. Absolutely.
I mean, this is, I'm sure it's a lot of things that make this up, but to me, this is that marzipan flavor. If I was to wear it, I would have to layer it with something else, whereas I would just grab and go the Christian Dior. And I understand that they both have that Tonka bean as their shared element, but this is really like. I mean, it just smells like that one thing. Whereas as the Christian Dior, I imagine as it's also sort of coming around, it's going to have a whole bunch of other different notes. Yeah, this smells very much like marzipan, which could be great. I mean, you could layer that perhaps with a cacao. That had a cacao to it actually too.
Yeah, the Feve.
Yeah. And so you could maybe layer it with a little bit of cacao. You could layer it with something that has a little bit of vanilla, you know, so maybe even a citrus, you know, something like that, which would be interesting. But the Christian Dior is just grab and go. So I heard you say, you know, you're likely to just grab that and go out the door versus the other, and I can understand why, because I think I'd have to tinker with that a little bit more. And that's interesting for something that's, you know, not inexpensive. I usually would rather it was more grab and go, you know.
I don't have time to tinker, so that's why it's kind of behind there.
Yeah, I get it.
And you can see my point here. 75 mils of this is just under $300. 250 mils here is $300. So
yeah, and this one I can imagine. I mean, like literally, what you've had that one for like a few months, and this one you've had for like a long time.
A year and a half.
Yeah, and that you can see that this. I think that the Christian Dior is going to be gone. It's going to be, you know, half a bottle in another year, whereas this one may be about the same. You know, so it's interesting. It's tough to say, you know, if money were no object and all that stuff, but I really need my sense to work for me, you know. And if I'm spending $300 for a scent or whatever, I need to have it be much more grab and go. If it's something that I'm going to be paying $50, $100 for or whatever, you know, layering it could be fun, whatever. But not if I'm paying, you know, just under $300 for it. That needs to be more than. And
I'm not a layerer anyway. I don't really usually like to layer.
Which I do.
You do.
So I do that. You know. So I have all my stuff. I even have made up a chart of stuff that I like to layer together. But I wouldn't layer like the Christian Dior or, you know, ones that I feel are complete within themselves. Which is why sometimes I'll grab some of the fragrances and use them more because I don't have the time to do it. But I've actually now gotten to the point where I have my own little layering scheme on the inside of my medicine chest.
Wow.
And all my stuff is in
organized.
alphabetical order, and you know, I would put this under A for almond or N for marzipan, and then I would layer that into.
For Tonka, T for Tonka?
You know what? Todd, I would only think of Tonka toy with that. It should be a no.
Tonka toy bean.
Tonka toy bean.
On that note, guys,
what Tonka bean note.
Yes, exactly. And what are your thoughts about the comparison with Tonka Imperiale versus Feve Delicieuse? They're kind of similar fragrances, and I'm preferring the Feve Delicieuse over Tonka Imperiale, and so is Sheena, I think.
Yeah.
So let me know. Leave some comments and let me know what your thoughts are on the comparison between the two. If you like one over the other, let me know on that stuff too. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Sheena, thanks so much for coming and doing this video with me. Stay tuned for more videos very soon. And also, please like this video, share it, subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. See you all later.
Bye.
Goodbye.